Good morning, beloveds. It is Monday. I have been to the gym. When I say that, I've been to the garage. Not mine. My trainer is a super fitness guy anyway, and so he already had a half of a gym built in his garage. And then when COVID started, he was like, well, I guess I'll just finish the gym. And so I meet him in his garage, and the great thing is since he's a theater guy as well as a fitness guy, when I'm doing things that hurt, he will talk about theater to distract me while I'm working out. It's great. So, hallmark of a good trainer is that they push you to, to push past what you think your limits are, and distract you while you're doing it. So today, since my knee is still in the healing process, he just went after my arms, and so if I can't do this by the end of the day, well, he did his job. So it is October 26th. It is Monday, and our title is My Soul is at Peace. When a problem confronts me, I take it into the silence of my consciousness. Instead of thinking of the problem, I think of the answer. The divine presence guides, guards, and protects me. It counsels me with wisdom. It sustains and upholds me in everything I do. Having recognized the divine presence as my guiding star of hope, assurance, and certainty, I also recognize the universal law of mind as my servant. My faith in this law causes it to act upon my faith. My faith in this law causes it to act upon my faith, bringing into my experience those things I accept. My faith in this law causes it to act upon my faith, bringing into my experience those things I accept. Okay. Sorry. He capitalizes in strange places, and sometimes it makes me wonder if I've lost my place. I know that today I am free and unhindered. I feel the operation of divine love and universal law in my affairs. I know that everything I do is governed by love and controlled through law. I am conscious that I am one with all people, in complete reliance upon the divine and with the absolute faith in the goodness of God. I lay aside everything within me that contradicts the divine and know that today peace, fulfillment, and happiness are mine. My soul is at peace, rejoicing in the eternal movement of mind, of spirit, and of God in all my affairs. All right. I know that everything I do is governed by law, love, and controlled through law. One of the things to remember when we talk about love and law is that the law, let's start here, that God is not a personality. God is not the great accountant in the sky. God is not the old white man with the long white beard, with the long white robe, sitting in a chair judging you. God is, spirit is energy. And it's energy that has a pattern, and it's energy that has a purpose, and that purpose is life. And God can't judge, because you can only judge what is outside of yourself, and there's nothing outside of God. So there's no judgment there. And then the law is even less of a personality. The law is simply function. This is the way things work. So if I do A plus B, then the result is C. And that's the way it works. every time, no fail. It's like when we talk about like the law of gravity, we have to work really hard to escape the law of gravity. Hence booster rockets and rocket fuel and all of that. It works. And that's when we talk about the law. And the law does not judge. So if you follow the steps, then you are going to get the result. So the law is not going to look at you and go, one, you're not worthy. If you follow the steps, you're going to get what you have worked for. And then two, it's not going to ever look at you and go, I don't think that's the best decision for you. Maybe you should rethink this. The law is going to give you what you worked for. So it will never say you're not worthy, and it will never say, I don't know about that, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Because sometimes we make choices that are not the best for us, and the law is going to follow through on that. So bear that in mind when you are working with one, God, spirit, divine love, whatever you want to call it, and two, the law. The law is not God. Law is a function of God. The law is the way that this works. And it is not going to judge you. And it is not going to deny you. And sometimes it will give us things that we have asked for, even if that is not what we want, because that is what we have asked for. All right, so when a problem confronts me, I take it into the silence of my consciousness. One of the ways that you can do that is when you go to bed. Well, one, go into meditation, or when you go to bed, write down whatever it is that you're working on, like right before you go to bed, and set it aside. And then your subconscious will literally work on it all night, and you may wake with a solution. Instead of thinking of the problem, I think of the answer. And that is one of the keys of Science of Mind. We don't focus on the problem. We focus on the solution. This is the problem I have. I acknowledge that this is the problem that I have. But this is the way I would have it be if I could have it be any way else. So we don't worry about the problem. We work on the solution. Because if you work on the problem, all you're going to have is more problem. If you work on the solution, you're going to have a solution. The divine presence guides, guards, and protects me. He has said this a lot. And I think it bears repeating, especially right now. The divine presence guides, guards, and protects me. The divine presence guides, guards, and protects you. The divine presence guides, guards, and protects everyone to the level of their understanding. The more willing you are, the more guidance, guarding, and protection you will get. The less willing you are, it's still there. But if you don't listen to the guide, then it makes it harder for it to guard and protect you. Always listen to your guides. They've been there before. They've done this before. They will get you where you're going. It counsels me with wisdom. It sustains and upholds me in everything I do to the level of your willingness. And that is the secret. The more willing you are, the more of this you are going to get. Having recognized the divine presence as my guiding star of hope, assurance, and certainty, I recognize the universal law of mind as my servant. So the divine presence is our guiding star. That's our hope, assurance, and certainty. So we know, yes, this will work. Then we realize that the law is our servant because it is the function. We are meant to use it. We are divine distributors. The law works through us to the level of our understanding and to the level of our willingness. The law works through us whether we understand it or not. But we will make better use of it the more we understand it. A plus B equals C. It's that basic. So it behooves us to understand what we are doing. My faith in this law causes it to act upon my faith. So your faith in the law causes the law to act upon your faith to give you what you are working for. Bringing into my experience those things I accept. If you don't accept it, if you say, like, I want this, and then you don't accept that you want this, then this is out here going, I'm right here, hello, I'm right here, let me in. So it is bringing it to you, but you still have to be willing to accept it. That's why we talk about the cup of acceptance. Totally stole that from Ernest. Love it. The cup of acceptance. How big is your cup of acceptance? If your cup of acceptance is not big enough, please go get a bigger one. You are worthy. You were born that way. There is nothing you have to do to be worthy of this law working for you, because it works for you whether you realize it or not. So you have the right to make a better use of it. I know that today I am free and unhindered. I feel the operation of divine love and the universal law in my affairs. I know that everything I do is governed by love and controlled through law. So I know that everything I do is governed by love. If you make choices governed by love, then you are going to make good choices. And I'm not talking about this sappy romantic nonsense that you say. No, I'm talking about the Buddhist love. The Buddhist love where your love is not an object but a subject with their own thoughts and feelings. Or, it's like, that's no. Because when you turn a person into an object, that's not love. So, when we make choices based on love, we are going to do better. And we are going to do better for ourselves, and we are going to do better for everyone else. I know that everything I do is governed by love and controlled through the law. I am conscious that I am one with all people. So when I am making decisions, I am conscious that the decisions that I make are going to affect all people. Do they directly affect... My choice for breakfast does not affect anybody other than me. Oh, no, it doesn't. My choice of breakfast will help determine how well I function for the rest of the day. And it will help determine my mood. So therefore, my choice of breakfast can determine whether I am cranky and mean to all of the people that come in and interact with me in my job. Or my choice of breakfast can stabilize my blood sugar and make me a wonderful joy to work with to come in and see at my job. So you see what I mean? And then every person that I interact with, if I interact with them in a loving, kind, compassionate manner, or I interact with them in a grumpy, I don't want to be here manner, then they're going to carry that back to and you see how it spreads. So my choice for breakfast does affect a lot more people than just me. If we didn't have an idea of how things spread before COVID, we do now. Contact tracing. So I am conscious that I am one with all people. So as small of a choice as what I have for breakfast can affect a lot of people. Let's see. In complete reliance upon the divine and with the absolute faith and the goodness of God, I lay aside everything within me that contradicts the divine and know that today's peace, fulfillment, and happiness are mine. Okay, so I have complete reliance on the divine and absolute faith in the goodness of God. If you do not have absolute faith in the goodness of God, what have you got? And that's a serious question. What, if you do not have absolute faith in the goodness of God, what is your idea of God? Because that's part of what's running you. And if you do not have faith in the goodness of God, then those are old tapes. You need to dig up and you need to see what's on them. I mean, you need to do a little editing. Because then your life will run a little bit better when you figure out, what do you believe about God? Do you believe... What have been your experiences? What have you been taught? What are the tapes that you are running in your head? I grew up in fire and brimstone Southern Baptist land. Trust me, they had some interesting ideas of God. I don't want to be run by that. So my absolute faith in the goodness of God. Because of that, I can lay aside everything within me that contradicts the divine. I can look and focus at the reality and not the illusion. I can focus on the spiritual back of the material. So I can see the world the way it could be. And is in that spiritual. And if I can see it, then I'm focused on the solution and I'm not focused on the problem. I'm focused on the answer. A world that works for everybody. My soul is at peace, rejoicing in the eternal movement of the mind, of the spirit, and of God in all my affairs. So how do we get our soul at peace? By focusing on the faith of the goodness of God. So what is our mission today? Should we choose to accept it? To lay aside everything within me, everything that within us that contradicts the divine. And to know that today, peace, fulfillment, and happiness are ours. So today, lay aside everything that contradicts the divine. Lay aside everything that is not love. Ooh, that's not a small mission. Some days I have to look for them, and some days they're right there. And honestly, when I started to say the mission, I didn't know what was coming out of my mouth. And then I heard myself saying it. I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah. So that was the mission picked itself today. All right. So as usual, I'm going to encourage you to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. It is in the low to mid 70s today. It is really nice out there. Now is a good time to open those windows. Get a breath of fresh air. Do something that engages your mind and your body today. My hairstylist, her husband trains marathon runners, reminded me that, hey, runners who can't run because we are healing, we can still bike, and biking is really good for our knees. So I'm excited. I have been unleashed. I can chase sunsets and sunrises again. Yay. Okay. And so there, I have opened the window of my soul and let that breath of heaven remind me that I live in heaven now, just because I've unleashed. So please open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you live in heaven now. To see the good, to see the divine, to see that pattern. And to know that the law works. So you should work the law. All right, I'm going to move into the process of my day. I am going to remind you that the 35th anniversary service was yesterday. If you haven't seen it, please click back a couple of videos and watch it. It was a lot of fun. I will be working on the photo album this week. And Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with 9 a.m. Be back with you at 9 a.m. after I go for a bike ride. I'm kind of excited about it. All right, beloveds, have a wonderful day.